What's going on, guys? It's Anthony, Mr. DIY. Just wanted to bring you a video today. If you're interested in getting started investing in the stock market, I wanted to make a little intro video to the app I use. It's called Robinhood. You've probably heard of it at this point. Um, I feel like this has really made investing a lot more common now, especially amongst young adults like myself. So, if you're interested in getting started trading stocks, options, ETFs, cryptocurrencies, all commission free, I'll leave a link in the description so you can download the Robinhood app. And when you sign up, you'll get a free stock. I also get a free stock if you use my link, so it'd be much appreciated. But besides that, let's get into the video. So, when you first open up your Robinhood account after you set everything up, when you open the app, this is pretty much what you'll see. It's a chart of your progress, um, you know, how your investments are moving. You can see you got your investing on the top left, how much you have, how much you're up for the day, how much you're up after hours. You can also change that for the week and for the month and overall and all that. Um, you also got some news here. Just different random stuff. Sometimes stuff might catch my eye, maybe like this. Amazon just made a big move to take on Roku and Hulu. Maybe that interests me. I'll click on the article and read it. If you scroll down, you're going to see the stocks that you are holding. If you have options, it'll say options. If you have cryptocurrencies, it'll say cryptocurrencies, and it'll just show how much you have. You can change the either last price that you see, the percent change, total loss and gain on these positions, your equity, that kind of thing. So I usually just leave it at last price because it also affects your watch list, which is if you could scroll further down, you got your watch list. I like to see the last prices of things or percent changes. Um, for the day. Sometimes I like seeing that, so it gives me an idea of where everything's going. But generally, I like to keep it at last price. So if you go over to the like magnifying glass tab right here, it's the browse tab. So here's where you can look for and just get introduced to different stocks or different ETFs or different things to trade. So you got the browse. If you want to search for companies specifically, you just go in there. It's got some suggestions here for some top movers in the market. It's got collections, different collections, technology, finance, oil and gas, all that kind of stuff. You can go in there and click. We'll click finance. It'll give you a list of different stocks that are in that sector, or I guess how they categorize finance. So different stocks. You can check them out. Yeah, you scroll down further. You got news going on in different areas of the market. So let's say we want to search for Amazon, right? We can type in Amazon, and it'll come up. Cool. The ticker symbol's on the very top. AMZN. That's a ticker symbol for Amazon. It shows you the price. It shows you the price movement for the day. You can look again for the week, for the month, all that stuff. Now, when you look at the charts, our Robinhood also offers the candlestick option. I don't really find this useful. Not for this, not for analyzing stocks. I use the TD Ameritrade Thinkorswim platform. I'll make a video on how I use that another day. But as far as these candlesticks, I mean, I really don't think they're very accurate. They're 10-minute candles, so each candle is 10 minutes of the market moving. Well, that's for the daily. The weekly, each candle is an hour, and so on. But really, I don't find this very useful. There's volume bars along the bottom as well, but I really don't find this very useful. I just keep it to the line graph. It just gives me a better general idea. But if you scroll down, you got some stats: the open, the high, the low. Um, volume, which I think is important to look at when you're trading. Me, I prefer to trade stocks that have above 1 million in volume. You can also see dividend yield, PE ratio. So if you want to get into dividend investing, you would look for stocks that have a dividend yield. Amazon doesn't, so they don't pay a dividend. And then you got news related to Amazon below. You also got analyst ratings. This is, fairly new, introduced in the last few months. I wouldn't like I wouldn't let this influence you to buy or sell a stock just on what this says. You can see this says 100% buy on 46 analyst ratings. I wouldn't buy Amazon just because 46 analysts say it's 100% buy. I honestly I wouldn't even pay attention to this area. I'm not even going to give it any more time. So it's also featured in these different groups, and you also got the Q2 earnings. Um, this is interesting to see if you are like a long-term investor. You want to see, you want to see them always beating the expected EPS, earnings per share. It shows you when the next one is. It's on July 25th after hours. When the next earnings will be taking place. Shows you what else people bought, volatility, and your order history. So these are, my orders that I did on Amazon and whatnot, and a little bit about the company. So let's say you wanted to add Amazon to your watch list. That's going to be the button on the top right. Right now it's a minus sign because it's on my watch list already, but before it's on your watch list, it's going to be a plus sign. So I would just click it. Now it says now watching Amazon. For me, it goes to the bottom of my watch list. I know on some iPhones, uh, sometimes it doesn't go to the bottom. It'll go to the top or somewhere near the top. I don't know why. It's just what I've seen. Um, but now let's say you want to buy a share, right? You want to, or we'll go back. We'll check out one of these, right? We'll check out IQV. You can look at the stock and you know IQV looks pretty good. So it's breaking all time highs. Got new highs going. Let's say I want to buy it. Now I can just buy a share. Just click buy. Shares of IQV. Let's say I want 10. Right? I want 10 shares. Now first it's gonna be set already to market price. So it's gonna be a market order. Let's say I want to change that order types. I go to order types and I want to set a limit order, right? Market or limit. They have stop loss and stop limit, but I think market and limit orders are the most common. So I'll click limit, and I don't want to pay any more than 154 on the dot for these shares. So I can set my price. All right, do I want to have it execute during extended hours or regular market hours? Doesn't really matter to me. I'll go extended hours. And then do I want it to just be good for the day or up to the next 90 days? I'll go the next 90 days. I'm not in a rush. So cool. I click the check. Yeah, here I don't have enough, buying power. But let's say I did, I would go, or let me show you with something I do have enough buying power for. I know AMD is cheap. So just to give you like a quick, like what it would look like. Let's say I'm gonna buy one share, right, at $30 even. I'm gonna click the check, and it's gonna say swipe up to trade. You would swipe up. It's gonna send your order. Now, if it's during the market hours and let's say it's a market order, you're gonna get filled instantly. A limit order, you're gonna get filled if it hits your price point. Right now, the market's closed, so it says right there, markets are closed right now. Your limit order placed at June 19, 2019 will be sent at the start of the next trading session, which would be tomorrow. I'm not actually gonna keep that, but that's just for an example. So that's how you would buy a share. Now let's say you want to trade options, right? You go into trade options, and first you're gonna see this Discover tab on the top, and this is cool because if you're kind of new into options, it gives you some like guidance. So here it says, I think it's going up. So these are the kind of options you'd want to get into if you think the underlying stock is going to increase in price. So you want to buy a call debit spread. You probably won't have spreads if you're just getting started. You'll probably only have the option to buy and sell call and put options. There's different tiers to options trading, and you'll unlock them as you trade options. But spreads can be a good way to also make money with options. Also, let's say you think it's gonna go down, then there's these options for making money with the stock on the way down. Sometimes there's options for I think the price will stay the same. I think it'll go up or down. Let me show you what that looks like. How come it's not giving it to me? Maybe Amazon has it. All right, yeah. So here, Amazon has it. You can see we have the up arrow, the down arrow. Now we have this kind of zigzag line. I think it could go up or down, so it gives you options for those. And I think it's staying the same. It gives you options for those. So, but let's say you're just gonna buy and resell option contracts. So you'd pick an expiration date. That's what these dates are up here. They're expiration dates. Um, we'll just go through a quick example. Let's say I want to buy a call, and the prices on the left are called strike prices. So it's the price. So since I'm buying a call, it's going to be the price that I think Amazon is going to hit. So let's say I think Amazon is going to hit 1920 by June 2018 or before. So I'm going to click that one, and I want one contract, right? And it's going to cost me $2,150, right? Because you pay $21.50 per share, and there's 100 shares for the contract. So that's how you'd go about buying the contract. Now, they're all limit orders with options through Robinhood. They're all limit orders. There's no market orders, so if your limit price doesn't get hit, you won't ever get filled. Same thing when you go to sell. When you want to sell the option to lock in your profits, it's going to be a limit order, and if your limit order doesn't execute and your limit price is never hit, then it's never going to sell. You're never going to lock in that profit. So um, just be wary of that. It would be the same thing here. I would click the check mark, swipe up, and it would execute my order. If you wanted to sell a call, you just click sell here. You wanted to buy a put, you would just go to put, and that's really how it works. You want to change the expiration date, you can go ahead and do that here. Uh, if you do get spreads, you'll have the select button on the top right, like you see here, and then you can go ahead and make your different spreads and whatnot. But like I said, you probably won't have that if you're just getting started. Let's say, so one thing I want to mention with options is if it'll show me. Hold on. It's taking a little bit. All right. So you see on the top right, we have like a timer. That's just, again, if you want the order to execute only for the day or give it up to the next 90 days, you can choose that. Now, the next one on the top right is like a graph looking thing. I like to check these before I go and buy the option. So this is going to give you all the information on that option. You got the bid, the ask, the last sale, the mark, the high and low for the day, and the volume and open interest in the first section. The bid and the ask are important because the price that it's going to show you is going to be the average of these two, or the median, what's in the middle. So um, also, I think it's important to pay attention to volume with options because so most of the time people just buy contracts and sell them for a profit. That's mostly what people do. And if you buy an option and there's no volume, when you go to sell, it's going to be really hard because there's going to be no buyers. So So you won't be able to sell because for every seller there needs to be a buyer. So be careful with which options you choose. You think you might choose one, oh, this one's really cheap, I can afford this, I'm gonna buy it. Well, be careful that there's enough volume there because some options can be really cheap and there'll be no volume, so you'll end up just losing whatever you paid for that contract. Now, next in the next section, you got the Greeks, delta, gamma, theta, vega, rho. I think the two most important ones to pay attention to here are delta and theta. So delta is related to the underlying stock as it moves, where for each point that the stock moves, the option is going to move 49 cents per share. So, for example, so this is an Amazon call, right? So for every point that Amazon moves, this the okay, so for every point, for every dollar, a dollar is a point. For every dollar that Amazon moves up, I'm gonna make $49 on this contract, right? But it works the other way around. For every dollar the Amazon moves down, since this is a call option, I'm gonna lose $49 on my option. And then theta works is it's the time decay because option an options contract has two kinds of value. It has intricate value and time value. So as long as your option is out of the money, and when I say out of the money, that means your strike price. So this is a call, right? If Amazon is not at 1920 or above, then I'm out of the money until it hits that price or above. For a put, it's the opposite. If your Amazon or whatever contract is above a certain your strike price, then it's out of the money. Um, so when it's out of the money, it has no intricate value. It only has time value. And the time value is determined by the expiration date. So the theta is how much the contract loses in value every day that passes. So right now, this theta is saying that for every day that passes, this contract's going to lose $100, $106, right? And as the expiration date gets closer, this number is going to grow. So time decay can really eat into your profits if the stock's not moving strong enough in your favor. So be careful with that. The last section has implied volatility, break even Amazon price, and chance of profit. Don't pay attention to the chance of profit. I mean, really, nobody can predict what a stock's going to do, what the market's going to do. So I wouldn't even pay attention to that. Just because it might say chance of profit is like 60%, I wouldn't let that encourage you to buy it. Same way where let's say it says chance of profit is only 5%, I wouldn't let that discourage you from buying the contract if you see value in it. So, but I will stress in paying attention to the implied volatility, also known as IV, because this can really hurt traders. Um, Having a high implied volatility can be very risky. This one is 20%. That's not too crazy. But for example, you might have heard of a stock recently called Beyond Meat. It's grown crazily in the last few months. It IPO'd recently, and it's grown, I don't know, maybe like 200, 300%. I'm not too sure, but it's grown like mad. And it finally dropped like 20% one day, and people were buying puts right or after the drop. They were buying puts after the drop. And the thing was that what people weren't paying attention to and they were losing money was that the IV on those put options were extremely high. So even though Beyond Meat was still falling, they were actually losing money because they had already missed the drop. The drop had already happened. The 20% drop already happened, and now they were getting in too late, and the implied volatility was eating into their premium. So now they were losing money even as Beyond Meat was falling. So, but the same, it can work in your favor. I've seen a guy who had a contract that expired the next day on Amazon, and so if it didn't go in the money the next day, he was going to lose his premium. But he only paid $30, so he wasn't going to, lose his head on $30. But the implied volatility was like 275% on that contract. The next day, Amazon pushed up 50 points, $50, and his contract was now in the money, and he sold that contract for $1,500. Okay, take $30 into $1,500, and I've done that too. And that's what a lot of people do for earnings plays, right? A lot of people try to do options for earnings, and you got to be careful with that because that can really hurt you because the implied volatility on earnings is really high. If you look at it next time earnings comes around, uh, the implied volatility is going to be extra high, and if the stock doesn't move, like make a strong move in your favor, you're probably going to lose money on that contract, even if it moves somewhat in your favor. So, but I think that's all that's there is to cover here for the Robinhood app. Um, I don't really think there's anything else. You can also kind of track, like, if you move your finger across the chart, kind of see the price movement. You can do that for stocks too. But yeah. Besides that, I think that's it. I hope you got some value out of the video. Like I said, if you want to start investing in the stock market, commission free, or even in the crypto market, real quick, you can search cryptos through the browse tab too. So BTC, that's Bitcoin, right? It's going to look a little different, but this is what it would look like if you wanted to buy crypto. You can see Bitcoin is up 2%. Uh, Probably going to break new highs soon. But yeah, if you wanted to invest in cryptos, again, you could just add it to your watch list on the top right plus button. And then you can just buy the same way you would do the stocks. So, but yeah, that's it for Robinhood. Like I said, if you want to start investing commission free, I'll leave a link in the description down below. Sign up. You'll get a free stock. I'll get a free stock. I'll really appreciate it. But other than that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.